Do you find it difficult to take notes? This is episode 32 of explaining how it feels through art. Many individuals with learning differences like dyslexia may find it very difficult to take notes, especially when the teacher is writing on the blackboard. Many express that they have to choose. Either they take notes but do not remember what's been said, or they do not take notes but they're listening and in some cases remember more from listening rather than writing. Another thing is that when you have to take notes from a book or take out what's important, it can be very difficult to identify what aspect of this text is important. I learned that I had to make my notes as drawings for me to remember them, because I remembered them more easily listening and drawing at the same time. When I look at an old drawing of mine today, I can tell you what's going on and how I felt at the time. Explaining through art, part 31. You may have noticed that I publish a lot of creature designs. These are actually fake Pokemons that I have made over the years. I started doing this as a 5-year-old when Pokemon first started. I loved it and I had to create my own. But these designs are actually my observations, my thoughts, my emotions and my ideas. These designs made me realize that I need to draw in order to learn. I'm a visual learner. It's all because of these guys. Because many of these designs are actually my notes from class. Since that's how I remembered things. I loved showing them off to other people. It was one of my favorite things to do. But when I was around 13, 14, I stopped doing them because there was so much happening at the time. But over the last year, I started publishing them because they mean a lot to me and I want to show them off to you. Are you dyslexic? This is episode 33 of explaining how it feels through art. This image is concept art for my short film I Am Dyslexic. And I call the image for Walking with Books. When I do public speaking, I use this image to explain several different things. Notice how the book says how to not give up. You have to figure out what works for you. That requires research and try and fail. That is necessary. I also use this image to talk about the story how I started walking while reading, to see if my attention shifted and if I could read better. I did, and I took this further. I explored how I read on different transportation, and the result was I read best when I'm on the train and I write best on the plane. You have to experiment with yourself. Explaining through art, part 34. This image I call diagnostic anxiety, and it portrays how the teachers and educators lack the knowledge of how to support all these individuals with all these different labels. And of course they do, because they do not learn how to do this in school. Many are even told they will never meet someone like this. A study in 2017 in Norway said that 33% of newly educated teachers stop being a teacher after 5 years. Isn't that interesting? So when shall teachers and other educators actually learn about the reality that they will be facing in the school system? If the mental health of the teacher is taken care of, then it's more likely that the mental health of all the students will also improve. What are you waiting for? Do you have a learning difference such as dyslexia, dyscalculia, ADHD, etc.? This is episode 35 of explaining how it feels through art. And today we're going to talk about this image, finally. This image is actually concept art from my short animated film I Am Dyslexic. And this little guy, he climbs this mountain of books and pages grows out of his face. He's tired and he's sick of being in this world because he doesn't fit into it. And this is exactly how many individuals with learning differences feel when they are in school. The never-ending flow of books and letters. You're tired, but you have to continue because there's so much expectations of you. It's almost like you are expected to grow up faster than you actually want to. Not allowed to be a child anymore, you have to work hard. Check out the whole short film I Am Dyslexic on YouTube. This is episode 36 of explaining how it feels to be neurodiverse through art. And today we're going to talk about organizations that talks about, for example, dyslexia or other learning differences. I made this illustration for a book I illustrated where I drew Dyslexia Norway. It's not uncommon that people are unaware that many countries or even their area has one or more organizations talking about dyslexia or other learning differences. This is a very good place to go to for information about your diagnosis. Some even provide services and courses for you to take, and even events where you can meet like-minded people of all ages. Of course, these services changes from place to place, but it's worth checking out. Are you aware of the organizations in your area? And have you used them? Hi! Do you have dyslexia or other learning differences? This is episode 37 of explaining how it feels through art. And this image I call Help Exists. Because there are so many support tools and learning techniques you can use to make your life a lot easier. I have loads of videos on this on my channel that you can check out. However, many people don't want to use them. And of course, there's several reasons for this. Some people are afraid of what other people will think about them. Some just want to be normal. Some aren't even allowed to use support tools. Some people deny that they even have a diagnosis and refuse to use it. Some don't understand how to use it, so they don't use it. It's easier than ever to gain information of how something works. You're most likely going to be in education for a long time. Make it easier for yourself. Do you use any support tools? ADHD in girls. This is episode 38 of explaining how it feels through art. Sadly, it's not uncommon that girls get undiagnosed through school or maybe their whole life because they show symptoms of ADHD differently than what boys do. Boys with ADHD is often way more out with their energy than girls who are more inwards with their energy. But of course, everyone is different. According to ADHD Norway, girls tend to be inattentive or have the combined type of ADHD. They also say that the following things are typical for girls with ADHD: inner turmoil, restlessness, tension, fidgeting, flight of thoughts, highly emotional, physical and mental overreaction, and extremely talkative. Do you relate? Hi, do you have dyspraxia? This is episode 39 of explaining how it feels through art. And yes, you guessed it, today we're going to talk about this image which represents dyspraxia. And dyspraxia is all about the fine motor skills, the movement of the body, and spatial awareness. But of course, everyone is different, and we may see that different diagnoses overlap with other diagnoses. And one could have additional difficulties with, for example, dyslexia, but you can also just have dyspraxia by itself. Individuals with dyspraxia may experience clumsiness, poor handwriting, difficulties with sports, definitely ball skills, tying their shoes, spatial awareness, directions, etc. Do you have dyspraxia? What is the biggest challenge for you? Forklare hvordan det føles å ha en læreforskjell gjennom kunst, del 40. I dag snakker vi om dette bildet som heter «Denne kommandoen kan ikke bli fullført», som handler nettopp om det at ikke alle elever lærer på den måten som skolesystemet lærer bort. Vi kan sammenligne med det å bruke to forskjellige operativsystem. Læreren og majoriteten av elevene kjører Windows operativsystem, mens disse to elevene som faller utenfor kjører Mac operativsystem, og da får ikke med seg, for det er en helt annen koding, helt annen måte å tenke og lære på enn resten av systemet. Og hva skjer da? Jo, da blir du utenfor, og du blir fortalt at du er dum, bare fordi du har et annet operativsystem som trenger en helt annen måte å gjøre ting på enn det systemet er lagt opp til. Og dette er hverdagen til veldig mange. Derfor er det så viktig at alle har kunnskap om dette her, og at lærere lærer om dette på skolen. Jeg lagde en illustrasjon for boka Hacking the Code.